Welcome back. Let me summarise the story so far. Rachel Pitt had the genius idea to look at academic job ads as data to see what academic employers want from PhD graduates. This research brought into question the way we teach research degree candidates. It's clear that the advice of just write your thesis or even publish a lot is not enough. To land entry-level academic jobs, PhD graduates need a broad range of skills in finding money, teaching, public engagement and outreach, in addition to being able to do research and write about it. And at the end of this research on academic job ads, we were keen to have a look at the non-academic job ads, but we couldn't find any. And then Rachel got a new job, I did a MOOC, and the idea lay in wait for about 9 months until I presented it at ANU by happenstance in front of Will Grant. Will had the genius idea of asking the government for money, and the government suggested machine learning. We went off and did a 2-year project to design an algorithm to make the hidden job market for PhD students visible. We're now commercialising the algorithm, but we were able to get back to this initial project of looking at these job ads in terms of the research skills development framework. So this picture of MacGyver pretty much sums up my feelings right now, and I promise you I'll get to why MacGyver soon. Here's our sample of non-academic PhD-shaped jobs. Remember that we couldn't code the research development framework into machine learning. It was just too complicated. So we ended up taking 71 jobs that our machine identified and returned to our hand coding method. The jobs that we analysed for this research part look like this. We took 53 jobs which were rated as high. These were ones that needed sophisticated research techniques and critical thinking skills. And these jobs generally ranked between 7 and 9 on our research intensity algorithm. 17 further jobs rated as unicorn, where in addition to a high degree of autonomy and creativity was required. These are ranked 9 and 10 on our research intensity algorithm. Now, only 33% of the jobs we analysed in this set explicitly mentioned the PhD, and a majority did not specify a starting salary, so we don't include this in our analysis. As a side note, the variation on salary in research-intensive jobs is really large. Having a PhD and doing one of these very complicated jobs does not automatically pay well, and similar jobs in different sectors can have massive salary differences. Spoiler alert, it's probably good to work in a bank if you want the big coin. So this time there were 3 of us doing the coding, Rachel Pitt, Will Grant and I. Rachel and I did a lot of intercoder agreement work and we briefed Will, and it took us several months to code this set in between the other work we had to do. This is a good example of backburner research that's not funded, and it's somewhat an effort of Will to keep this project going. So here are our results for each domain. To refresh your memory about the researcher development framework, the 4 domains touch on knowledge, personal qualities, organisational knowledge and communications. The subdomains break these down into a finer level of detail. Here I've superimposed our initial coding results for each of the domains from the sample of jobs that we selected. Now here are the results side by side. On the left are the academic jobs that Rachel Pitt and I coded initially, and on the bottom right is the result from this analysis of our non-academic jobs. Immediately you can see that the shape is completely different. Non-academic employers are very interested in the graduate's ability to manage projects to completion and working with others. They're much less interested in the personal qualities that the graduates can bring to bear. We often tell PhD graduates that employers are interested in their ability to do things like data analysis and communication, and we tend to tell people that their subject matter knowledge is not as important to non-academic employers as it is to academic employers. But this radar graph tells another story. It shows very clearly that subject or domain expertise is actually highly valued by non-academic employers. So let's unpack these results a little bit further. Firstly, let's look at what we found that was not in the RDF. What additional skills do employers want from researchers that are not captured in the RDF in its present format? The first thing we noticed was commercial acumen, the ability to see opportunity to make money and being able to communicate those opportunities to others. In universities, the emphasis on money is there, but not in the same way. While the universities want academics to be able to win grants and bring money in, companies want researchers to be able to build things or make things more efficient in order to make more money. Non-academic employers expect quality work and they want it fast. And non-academic employers are looking for researchers to provide quality assurance and trustworthy advice, and this includes managing project risk. This is a skill that's not explicitly taught in many PhD programs, but it can be learned on the job, particularly when things go wrong. So we also noticed some key difference between the academic and non-academic job ads, and these were some things that we didn't expect to find. One was a big emphasis on being able to socialise and work in teams. And this networking was really about team building within organisations, internal stakeholder engagement, if you like. We joke that while academics are expected to go to conferences, they are not usually asked to go camping with the dean. So we labelled this a collegial ick factor, that they were asking for a lot of time to be spent with management and to basically go on retreats together and, spend a lot of time that I don't think academia asks you for. We were pleased and rather surprised actually by the language used to encourage people to apply for the jobs. There are far more perks and incentive mentions in this ad than there were in the academic job ads. Career progression was mentioned, again, much more than academia, and we got the impression these employers were working a lot harder to attract and retain the talent. We also noticed there are a lot of extra, what we're calling mini qualifications, like vendor certifications, security clearances, and citizenship checks. And I'm sure this would make some of these jobs quite hard to access. So some people were much more available to this job market than others. We were then interested in the key insights for research education. So the first thing we noticed in these ads was that there was a high value placed on technical skills, often combinations of subject matter expertise and critical thinking that enable people to make things. For instance, data scientists to generate actionable business intelligence, or people who could analyse research to develop policy approaches. This kind of work requires high levels of creativity. And I think it's important to distinguish between the kind of critical thinking we're talking about here and the notion of academic critique. Employers are looking for people who are able to use their critical thinking skills to create value of some kind, not to challenge the status quo, which is the common definition of academic critical thinking, where we try to disestablish past precedent to some extent. We also noticed that there was something different going on about transferable skills than is usually the story that's told. We often tell candidates the value of the PhD outside academia is that it shows that you're a person who has resilience and the ability to stick to a project. Our non-academic ads, did not seem to put much value on these qualities. Compared to academic ads, personal qualities were rarely mentioned. And we think this is because academia is a tough environment mentally, and therefore we put a premium on this quality in our PhD students. If you think about it, the researcher development framework we're measuring against was asking researchers what they do every day and categorising the skills and attributes needed. The researchers who helped build this initial RDF needed those skills and resilience and survival modes to get through the rigours of academia with its performance metrics and high levels of expectation and competition. Our set of non-academic job ads asking for highly research skilled people suggests that commercial enterprises don't consider these qualities as important to success. In fact, they put the emphasis on teamwork and creativity instead, which certainly gave us pause for thought about the kind of environment we create for each other in academia. While commercial skills are important, commercial enterprise has little interest in the impact agenda, which has been pushed by many governments with respect to academia. Communication skills are certainly crucial, but the emphasis is on the ability to communicate internally with customers, and the rest of the communication skills are about how to keep secrets from external players. This highlights the very different cultural context that PhD graduates will face when they move outside academia. The difference in cultures is quite extreme, and it's possible that people will really need help navigating this new commercial environment. So in summary, what does all this mean for research education for people like me who are tasked with professional development of PhD candidates? Firstly, I think we should stop saying to graduates and to candidates that their subject matter knowledge and their expertise don't matter. It does. Technical training is also incredibly important. It provides the bridge towards creating new things, be that new products, new business intelligence, and new consumer insights. And this is why we've put MacGyver as our figure in these slides. We think the MacGyver-like figure, the person who can fix things, can create and find new solutions to problems, and is highly technically skilled and highly competent and highly trustworthy is the kind of figure that academic employers are looking for. And we can contrast the non-academic MacGyver figure with the figure that we always use for academic employers, which was a superhero, someone who can leap 1,000 marked papers in a single bound. If candidates want a career outside academia, teaching and publishing are not actually really necessary. Of course, both these activities sharpen skills in communication, so they're valuable, but building a portfolio around them, as you would when you were seeking an academic position, is not really helpful, and perhaps wastes a bit of time that could be spent elsewhere. Rare combinations of skills are highly valued by non-academic employers. With apologies for the stereotyping, people with strong maths ability, yet good communication skills, are highly sought after. People with a strong background in humanities research who are not afraid of maths are equally sought after. These kind of people have a lot of options outside academia, so I would encourage people to use the PhD to broaden their skill base, not to narrow it. Some PhD level skills are crucial and highly valued wherever they are, including many communication skills and project management. So this research was geared to help us edit or add to the research development framework, but really what we see is so different, we're not sure this is a good way forward. So we've started to develop a model for the ideal graduate for non-academic careers. Our model is a triangle, implying every attribute is somehow connected to others. At the centre, we've placed the core skills, subject matter domain knowledge, research skills and communications. Each graduate will have to develop a strong skill set there. At each point of the triangle, we've placed 3 key skill sets or clusters. And in between these skills, we've placed the outcomes possible with these skill combinations working together. Project management skills and technical skills together produce complex deliverables, products, insights, policy briefing documents, and so on. Project management in combination with social skills are important to teamwork and to working within an organisation, not as individuals as is common to academia, but towards shared goals. Technical skills and social skills enable people to get out there in the world and see how they can apply what they know to find new opportunities or efficiencies in the workplace, what employers would call commercial acumen. We're working on this model and its application to research education now. We hope to have a new paper based on this presentation available early next year. Thanks for listening.